Step into the world of estate planning, probate, and wills and trusts with the Del Toro Law Podcast. Leading the way is your host, Attorney Peter Del Toro.
Next on our show, does a power of attorney have an expiration date? Get the facts from an experienced estate attorney. Welcome back, everyone. This is Garfield Bowen, co-host / producer, back in the studio with Attorney Peter Del Toro. Peter, how you doing today?
Great, sir. How are you?
I am well. So, Peter,
Yes,
will
sir.
my power of attorney expire?
Typically, no. When we issue a power of attorney, we usually keep them open-ended, but it can be revoked at any time while you're alive and incompetent. The power of attorney would kick in if you give it to somebody or if you became incompetent. So it's probably the most powerful document, I tell people, out of all the ones that we draft while you're alive. Because, Garfield, let's say you gave me power of attorney, a durable power of attorney for you, and you gave me that document. I can go into any bank and say, I want to take XYZ out of Garfield's account, and they would deal with me as I was, if I were you. So that document is very, very powerful. We don't want to give that document to anybody that we don't fully trust, or designate someone that we're not sure that was capable and is trustworthy and would take care of us. But while you're alive, and while you can change that document anytime you want, but typically there's no expiration date. Now, if you became incompetent, then that person would step into your shoes and be able to pay the bills, deal with the bank, deal with FP&L, any entity that you would deal with. They have the power to become you at that time. So that's why that's such a powerful document, and we have to be very careful who we designate and who we give access to that document.
Okay. But it ceases when they die, right?
Yes, only good while you're alive. So the second you pass away, there's no more power of attorney. There's no more healthcare surrogate. At that point, if you had a will, we would have to get the personal representative. Most people understand the term executor of an estate. In Florida, we call it a personal representative. It's the same thing. Or if they had a trust, it would be the successor trustee. Those people would come in and have powers over the estate, just like a durable power of attorney have it while you're alive. So think about durable power of attorneys while you're living, and an executive estate is kind of a power of attorney over the estate once someone passes.
Okay, but if they have some mental issues where they can't make decisions, it's important to have this in place so somebody can make their decisions for them, correct?
Very, very important. When we do any estate planning, I like to do a package. So if you're going to get a will, I do a will package. The will is always going to have a power of attorney, and it's always going to have a healthcare surrogate, a living will, so we know your healthcare intentions and wishes, and some HIPAA releases, like an advance directive, so we know what your wishes are. So I bundle those together. And if the trust package is the same thing, all those documents, because while we're preparing for ultimately our demise and our death and moving our assets to our loved ones or beneficiaries, there's also a percentage of us that will be incapacitated during our lifetime. Whether it's temporary, let's say I have a stroke and I'm going to be in rehab for 6 months, and I'm going to get better. But for those 6 months, someone needs to pay the bills. Someone needs to talk to my doctor on my behalf. Or whether it's permanent, if I have dementia, it's going to get continually worse. We need that power of attorney. And it's a relatively cheap and inexpensive document compared to not having it. And then our loved ones have to go to court and get a guardianship. That could be anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 to establish a guardianship. Whereas for a few $100s for a power of attorney, it's a much cheaper alternative. You do it up front and you take the measures early. You don't have to worry about spending a lot of money on the backside.
Yeah, we never know what's going to happen tomorrow, so we have to cover all the bases, right?
Exactly, and that's what we're here for, because you don't really think about those things, and a lot of people come in and they finally get around to doing their will or their trust or their power of attorneys, and then I'll ask them some questions, and they're like, "Whoa, I never thought about that." And I think about that because I've seen it happen to a lot of clients in some bad situations. So we try to, do everything in advance because it's much easier and much more inexpensive than trying to fix something later.
Good stuff. Power of attorney, Peter Del Toro, attorney at law. Love it. See you in the next episode.
Thank you, Garfield.
Thanks for listening to the Del Toro Law Podcast. your source for estate planning, probate, and wills and trusts. For a complimentary consultation, visit deltoro.law or give us a call at 772-444-0101. That's 772-444-0101.